All right, so here's the Classwork video solutions, and then you'll take a quiz after this. Remember, as you're doing this work with me, that your letter answers will be in a different position than mine. So just pay attention to the letters that we talk about for our multiple choice. Study the function. So we have two functions, A, which is an equation, and B, which is a table. So we know we need to determine the rate of change. So we know that slope, and we need to find the greater rate of change. So we know slope here is 2. Okay, notice here that our pattern is different, which is fine. We have another way of finding slope than just using our table, and that's using slope formula. In slope formula, all I need is 2 points, and I can write them as the difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. And then we had a shortcut that we talked about, using a table instead like that. So let's just pick 2 points, 0, 4, and 1, 7. We know the difference of the y's here is positive 3. Difference of the x's is positive 1. No matter where I go on this line, those points will always give me the same slope. It's just that if I pick 2 points that are farther apart, I might have to simplify. So in this case, my rise is 3, my run is 1, so my slope is 3. So if I look down at my answers, A was a slope of 3, but I know it was a slope of 2, so that can't be possible. Go to B. B, A is a slope of 2, check. B was a slope of 3, check. And then the statement says, function B has a greater rate of change. Check. So that's our answer. Okay, next one. It's the same type of problem. So let's go ahead, and we know the slope here is 3. It's the number in front of the x in slope-intercept form. Here our pattern is positive 4, so that works out. Here our pattern is positive 1, so we know our slope is rise over run, so our slope is 4. Okay, let's look at our answers. A, slope is 3, check. B, slope is 4, check. Function A has the lesser rate of change, and we know A, 3 is less than 4, so our answer's right there. Okay, next one. A radio station collects pledges from sponsors. One day sponsors pledged lump sums that totaled $500. So that's where you start. So that's our y-intercept. Other sponsors pledged $10 per month. We know per means multiplication, so that's got to be our x term. The total pledges received, P, can be represented as a function right there. So if I want to write this in slope-intercept form, our total pledges are $10 per month for some, plus we started at 500. So I just turned it around. Okay, here, Joy has $340 in her savings account, so that's where she's starting. She withdrew $5 each month to pay off a clothing store account. So again, $5 each month means multiplication, so we know that's our x term, and withdrew means it's going to be a negative, isn't it? So if we go over here and just do our pattern, we know that it's negative 5. Over here, it's a positive 1, so we know our slope is negative 5 over 1, or negative 5. Our equation would be savings equals, I'm going to withdraw $5 every month, but I started at $340, so I can figure out how long it's going to take me. So which function has a negative slope? Well, obviously function S does. Function S has a negative slope since its slope is negative 5. Okay, number 4. Study the functions. Which function has a steeper slope? So we want the greater one. So this is like A. So we know over here that this slope is 3/2, so it's a little bit more than 1. Okay, let's find this. That's positive 1, or positive 4, positive 4. So our pattern is positive 4 there, positive 3, positive 3. So I know my slope is rise over run. So which one has a steeper slope? Well, if we have fractions to compare them, I can simply do some cross multiplying. to determine if 3 halves is greater than or less than. So I'm going to multiply here. 3 times 3 is 9. That goes with that numerator. 4 times 2 is 8. That goes with that. Really what we're doing is we're finding common denominators. 9 is just our numerator. 2 times 3, it would have been 6 on the bottom like that. So we know 9/6 is greater than 8/6. So function C. Function C has a steeper slope, -5. Well, that's wrong. Function D has a steeper slope. That's wrong. Function C has a steeper slope, yes. Then function D, yes. So that's the one that makes sense. So you have to read the answers too, because they try to trick you a little bit. Okay, number 5. Look at the functions. I have function J and function K. So this time it's a graph and a table. Okay, we're going to compare them. So what does it say? Function J and function K describe the same function since they both have a y-intercept of 4. Well, let's write the equation for each one. So this one right here would be y equals, let's find 2 points. So there's a point at 5. Okay, and then here's a point at 4. So I know I'm going up 4 and over 5. So that's 4/5, but it's negative. So y equals -4/5 x. And then my y-intercept was 4. Okay, let's do this one. So let me see. The pattern there is subtracting 4 each time. The pattern here is adding 5. So our equation here is -4/5 x. And then my y-intercept is right there at -2. So right off the bat, we know they're not the same functions because they have 2 different equations. So they describe, describe the same function? No. Function J has a y-intercept of 4. Function K has a y-intercept of -2. So the functions are not the same. And of course, we just established that. So our answer is B. Okay, number 6. Look at the functions. Compare them. Well, let's figure out the equation for each. So function N, here's our pattern of, looks like adding 6 each time. Here's our pattern of adding 2. So function N, okay, we can all do something like that, equals, we know our slope is 6/2, or if we simplified it to 3, so that's 3x, okay, or we'll even use n to act like the x. And then our y-intercept is when x is 0, so there's our y-intercept of 4. So let's do a function of p. Okay, let me see. This pattern here is not the same pattern. Okay, you notice here it's 16, but here it's 4. So we have to find the slope by doing 2 points, like we did earlier. So let's just take 0, -6, 4, 2. So we know the pattern there is adding 8. Here the pattern here is adding 4. So 8/4 is +2. So this slope is 2p, because it matches that. And then the y-intercept is right here at -6. So they're not the same. Okay, function n and function p describe the same function? No, they don't. B, function n and function p describe the same function? No. C, function n describes it y equals 3x plus 4. So let's go ahead and check that. Okay, 3x plus 4. C, y equals 2x minus 6. So 2x, this would be minus 6 as well. So we know that that's the answer. Okay? And we'll go now to our, actually I think I'll stop it on this one and make 2 videos. Okay, here's the second part, the 1 through 15. Which of the following is the graph of x equals -3? We know that's a special equation. We know that it means the line crosses the x-axis at -3. So if it crosses the x-axis, it has to be vertical, and it crosses at negative 3, which would put it right here. So that's our vertical line crossing at negative 3. So answer is B. Number 2. Which of the following is the graph of y equals 4? So this is basically the opposite. We know this line crosses the y-axis at positive 4. So that must mean it's horizontal. So crosses at positive 4. Well, right there's positive 4 and it's horizontal. So our answer is C. Number 3. Which of the following is the graph? So let's change this into slope-intercept form. So there. So we need to get the 2x on the other side. So we have to solve this equation for y. So negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. Got to get rid of the negative 3, so I divide by negative 3 for everything. So these cancel, so y equals negative divided by negative is a positive, so our slope is 2/3. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I know my y-intercept is negative 2. So that's the easiest point to look for. So that crosses at positive 3, so that's not the answer. B, that crosses at 2, not negative 2, so that's not the answer. C crosses at negative 2, so that could be possible. D crosses at positive 2, so we know that's not possible. So through the process of elimination, we know it's C. We didn't even have to look at the slope. Okay, next one, number 4. The function y equals 4x minus 2 is represented by which graph? Let's go ahead and do our same change opposite. So just like the last problem, we know our y-intercept right there is negative 2. Okay, we know A would cross somewhere up here. That would be way up positive something, so that's not it. B, we know that crosses right here at negative 2, so that's possible. C also crosses at negative 2, so that's possible. And D crosses at negative 2, so I have 3 that are possible. Let's look at our slope. Our slope is positive. So B is positive up and to the right. C is negative up and to the left, so that's not possible. And D is positive as well. So now let's actually do the slope. The slope is negative, or positive 4, so we go up 4 and over 1. Up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4, and over 1, and there you go. Whereas this, if I go up 1, up 2, up 3, up 4, and over here, that line would have been, again, like that. And it's not. So can't be D, so it has to be B. Okay, number 5. The function y equals negative 2x plus 3 is represented by which graph? Well, again, let's start with our y-intercept of positive 3. Here's positive 3. It doesn't cross there, so can't be possible. Let's look at B. Here's positive 3. Doesn't cross there, so that's not possible. C, here's positive 3, so that's possible. D, here's possible 3, and it doesn't cross, so not possible. So again, without using slope, I get the answer of C. Number 6. Which of these graphs could represent the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 1? So I'm off a little bit on my video. So there's our equation. So I got same change opposite. All right. So we need a y-intercept of negative 1. This is positive, not possible. B, okay, that looks possible right there. C, that looks possible. And D, the origin is the y-intercept, so that's not possible. 1/2 x means I go up 1 and over 2. Well, that looks like it goes up 1 and over 1, whereas C looks like it goes up 1 and over 2, so that's the more likely. So answer B. Okay, number 7. Which is the graph of 2x minus 3y equals negative 6? So we have to solve that one like we did earlier. We have to get it into slope-intercept form. So do your same change opposite. So I have to get the 2x over to the other side, so a negative 2x. So I'm left with negative 3y equals negative 2x plus that negative 6. Do not combine this number term with the variable term. Okay, I'm multiplying by negative 3, so I have to divide everything by negative 3. That cancels, so y equals positive 2/3 x plus positive 2. So, look at your y-intercepts. Negative 2, not possible. Positive 2, possible. Negative 2, not possible. Positive 2, possible. So we have B or D. So what do you think you do next? Of course, you look at the slope. Positive slope. This is going up and to the right, so it's positive. D is going up and to the left, so it's negative. We know that can't be possible. So our answer is B. 8, which is the graph of y equals 1/3 x minus 2 or plus a negative 2. Keep doing the same thing. Y-intercept is negative 2. Here it's positive 3. Not possible. Letter B, here it's at negative 2, so that's okay. C, here it's at negative 2, so that's okay. And D, it is negative 2 as well. So now let's look at the slope. The slope is 1/3. It's positive. So which one of our answers are positive? B, up and to the right. That's okay. C is up and to the left. Not okay. D is up and to the right. Possible. So now let's actually do the slope. It was 1/2 x, or 1/3 x. So up 1 and over 3. So let's look. Up 1 and over 3 would have brought it over here, and that's not on the line. So that can't be it. Whereas this one, up 1 and over 3, puts it right there. So our answer is D. Not too hard. Number 9, which is the graph of 2x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. So we have to get y by itself, so we have to manipulate this equation. Okay, same change opposite. So let's move the negative 2x over here. So I'm left with 3y plus a negative 3 equals negative 2x plus 0 or nothing. Now I have to move this over here. Got to get the y by itself. So I have to move the number term too. So I'm left with 3y equals negative 2x plus 3. Okay, now I have to get the y by itself, so I have to divide by 3. So that's everything divided by 3. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3 over 3 is 1. So let's look at our y-intercept of 1. A is okay. Move this down. B is at 3, so that's not okay. C is at negative 1, so that's not okay. And D is at negative 1, so that's not okay. So our function is A. Which table represents values of x and y such that y equals x plus 2? So we know our y-intercept is 2. We know our slope is 1. So let's figure out slope. Well, that's positive 10. That's positive 10. 10 over 10 is 1. So that's good so far. B. Here's positive 10. Here's positive 10. So that's a slope of 1 as well. Okay, here's positive 11. Here's positive 11. So 11 over 11 is 1. So that's okay. Okay, over here. Here I'm going bigger to smaller, so that's positive 2. Here positive 2. 2 over 2 is 1. So all of the slopes are the same. They all match. But now we need a y-intercept of 2. Let's look and see if from the tables we can find where x is 0. Right here. Where x is 0, that's our y-intercept. That's negative 2. So that's not possible. So now we have to find either the y-intercept using a graph, or we can find 0 on our table. So basically we're just moving one at a time. Okay? So I need to go here would be negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. So there's 4 moves. Each one would be one at a time. So I need to do it here, one at a time. So if I went 1, that would be 0. If I went another one, that would be positive 1. Another one would be 2. That's where we want to go, but we need to do 4 moves, so that's not possible. So let's do the same thing here. From -3 to 0 would be 3 jumps of 1. So I do 3 jumps of 1 on this side, and you can tell from not -5, that would only get us to -2. I need +2. Okay, from -3 here, I need 3 jumps to get us back to where x is 0. Remember, when x is 0, y is our, or the y coordinate is our y-intercept. So 3 jumps here, I would do 3 jumps here. -1, it would be 0, then +1, then +2, and that matches what we need. So our answer is B. So a little bit tougher. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, which ordered pair is the solution of y equals 2x plus 5? We know from previous learning that any point that fits in for the x and y coordinates would be a solution. So let's simply substitute. So y is 1, x is 5, plus 5, 1 equals 10 plus 5, 1 equals 15, not possible. So A is gone. Okay? So now let's do this one in our head. Okay, we have -1 here, and x is -1 there. So 2 times -1 is -2. -2 plus 5 is 3, but we needed -1. So B isn't possible. Let's try C. So x is 4, y is 10. So 10 equals 2 times 4 is 6, 6 plus 5 is 11, and that doesn't equal it. So we know our answer is D, so let's just double check. X is -7, y is -9. 2 times -7 is -14. -14 plus 5 is -9. So this point right here would be on this line if I graphed it. Number 12. Okay, let's do this one tomorrow since it's off the page. So go ahead and work on it in class, or at home, and then we'll talk about it in class. So let's go to number 13. Complete the grid. Well, here, we're just going to substitute the x each time, or the y, and give us our other answer. So if I put 5 right here, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 4 is 11. So y is 11. Okay, let's do the next one. X is -2, so we substitute that there. 3 times -2 is -6. -6 plus a -4 is a -10. Okay, let's do one more. Here, x is 8. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 minus 4 is 20. Okay, let's do the y now. So this time, this is 14. So it looks like we have to solve it. So I have 14 equals 3x minus 4. Do your same change, opposite. Now we just solve for that x, because that's what we need right here. So I have to get the x by itself, so I have to get rid of the number. It's just a 2-step equation. That's 18 equals 3x. Divide by 3 on each side. So x is 6. And then you would do the same for the -19 and the -31. Okay? Okay, let's do number 14. 14 we're going to do in class. Here we have to get rid of the denominators. So we'll work on that in class. 15. If 2y is the solution to the equation x plus 3y equals 14, what is the value of y? Well, this is just like the problems we just did with the table, but they're just giving us one point, not a whole bunch. So we substitute x is 2 and solve for y. So x is 2, so I have 2 plus 3y equals 14. And now solve for y. So it's just a 2-step equation. Opposite of 2 is -2. They cancel. 3y equals 12. Divide by 3, and you get your y by itself, which equals 4. So the value of y is 4. Okay, so hopefully that gave you some insight into what you're going to need to be able to do for the quiz on Wednesday or Thursday, and then the test next week. Good work.